Welcome to another installment of gun cleaning story time. Today's gun cleaning story time is a bogus job that I had when I was in high school. I think it was in the summertime. Normally, well, I wouldn't say normally, but what was available to me when I was 16, 17 years old was the minimum wage jobs available, working in the grocery stores, working at fast food places. But ironically, back then, the minimum wage, here's a little minimum wage rant. The minimum wage back in my day was $3.35 an hour. And that was, I think you got a 15-minute break if you worked for 4 hours unpaid. You had to clock out. And if you worked for 4 or 6 hours, I think you got a 30-minute unpaid break. And that's the way it was. And you went to the grocery store, and at any given time of day, I think I told the story before, any given time of day, there were 5 registers open. Now, given the cashiers actually had to ring in, they didn't scan, you had to physically, there are little white tags, let's see if I can find one, little white tags, or orange or red or whatever, on the, here's a, well, price tag. There was actually a price tag. If I can find one with the old timing price tag, I'll roll that in. But the cashiers, what they would like grab an item, look at it, keying with this hand, put the item on the conveyor belt, and that's the way you rung up groceries. And then me, a bag boy, would be at the end of the cash register station, and I would bag your groceries. And there were, like I said, any given time of day, there were 5 registers open with a cashier and a bagger. So that was one of the jobs that was available to me back in my day. But of course, we weren't satisfied with that, and I've worked at various other jobs too. I worked as a busboy in restaurants. And I've worked as, let's see, what else? I worked at a fast food joint, cooking chicken sandwiches. So guess what job or company that was? But it was relegated to about minimum wage, which was $3.35 an hour. Well, my friend, that's another interesting story. My friend, one of my friends anyway, was one of those guys who didn't have many friends because he was such a different character. Let's put it that way. It isn't Billy. Billy's I didn't hang out with Billy, but this guy I hung out with, and he was kind of a difficult person to hang out with, but he and I got along for some reason. He found this ad in the paper that said, job opportunity, and kids actually read the paper back then. We read the want ads for jobs. And he read this ad that said, you can make up to, I can't remember what it was, $5 or $6 an hour. Now, compared to $3.35 an hour, that was a potential of doubling. I think it said up to $9 an hour or something like that. So of course, we fell for it. And so he and I got in our car, one of our cars, and we drove to the address listed in the paper, and that's another kind of back in my day story. Nowadays, 16-year-olds don't just go up to an unknown address that was listed in the newspaper. Definitely not by yourself, but we weren't by ourselves. We had each other, but still, you know, two kids rolling up on this unknown address, hoping for a job that was probably a scam. And anyway, I'll let the story unfold. But anyway, we roll up to this address, and it was like a hotel room. I can't remember. Here's where the story kind of gets muddled from my memory. It was so many years ago. It was either a hotel room or it was like a storefront. And the more I talk about it, the more I think about it, in my mind, I think I remember it was like a storefront. Kind of like one of those strip mall stores with nothing in it but a desk, a phone, and a dude. But I also see in parallel like a hotel room, like one of those motels, side of the road motels. Anyway, pick your vision, right? Pick your scene. So we talk to this guy, and he goes, "Oh, we're with the." This is from my recollection. I don't want to say the wrong name, but it was something like the Brotherhood of Police Officers or the Brotherhood of Law Enforcement Officers. It wasn't the Fraternal Order of Police. I'm 99.9% sure they didn't use those words, but it was something that would elude you to think, because you hear Fraternal Order of Police, but they, you know, scammers use things that are similar to things that we're familiar with. Anyway, so he says, we're with blah, 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 police, law enforcement organization. We're selling raffle tickets, and you boys are gonna, your job is to go pick up the raffle ticket donations or whatever they are, the money. We're supposed to go pick up money. And the deal was, they gave us one address. We have to drive there, pick up the money, and drive back. And we got, I think, $1. I want to say $1 or two, even $2. We got, well, we'll be, I'll be generous. I'll say we got $2 for every pickup we made. And they didn't give us a whole list of addresses, because now that I think about it, they're probably afraid that we'd go collect all this money from all these people and never and not come back. So that was the deal. They gave us one address. We go to that one address, pick up the money, bring the money back. We get another address, go out, and so therein lies the potential of up to, I'll say, $10 an hour to make the number even. So if you had made 5 pickups in an hour, you made $10 in that hour. You know, 5 pickups, $2 per pickup, which was cool because back then gas, I think, was like $1 a gallon. So depending on where you had to drive, you know, so you spent a gallon of gas in an hour. That was your $1. So you're down to making $9 an hour. Still. It was better than minimum wage, and you got to drive your car all day long. And my buddy, he had I think at the time he had a Nova, and I got a picture of that because I ended up buying the Nova, and that thing wasn't exactly a fuel sipper, and I had a Chevette, and the Chevette was pretty fuel efficient, but I think it was having mechanical problems or something like that, and I couldn't use it at the time. So we were relegated to using his Nova. And of course, we had to split the money between the both of us for the one run, because we wanted to do the runs together until we got the handle on it, and then we would kind of go on our own. And it could have been kind of a backup situation where, you know, we didn't want to go by ourselves. I can't remember why we both went, but there was a good reason for why we wanted to do these pickup runs together. So anyway, so we get the first job. We're kind of looking at each other, rethinking this plan, And so we said, well, let's do a couple. So we get this address, and I have to remind you, there is no such thing as GPS. I think this was in 1982 or 83. I don't remember. Maybe 83. But there's no GPS. We got maps. We got maps and we got a phone book. So we get this address, and we're driving all over flipping town. We're looking, you know how you fold out the maps and the letters are, you know, tiny. And so you're looking for the street number. So you find the street, and the street, you know, runs from one side of town to the other. And so you know, say it's 1525 Polk Street. So Polk Street runs from one end of town to the other end of town. So you have to look at like the 1500 block, which is really hard because you got cross streets and stuff like that. Anyway, long story short, it took us like 20 minutes to find our first address, which means there's no freaking way we're gonna make 5 runs in an hour. You know, it just wasn't, because not only did it take us 20 minutes to get there, we still had to spend 10 minutes to get back to the place. So we collected the money, and that's another part of the story. We go up, and this I know for sure was like a hotel or an apartment or a long-term apartment type, or long-term hotel type situation. So we go in there, we go to the door, and we knock on the door, and this lady answers. You know, the dog yapping in the back, and she's cracking the door open, and the, you know, dog's going off, and here's 2 teenage kids outside looking at her, and it's like, yeah, we're here to pick up your money from the fraternal police officer fund or something like that. And so she gives us the money. I think we give her a raffle ticket, and that's another part of the story. So we give her the raffle ticket, and she takes it, hands us, I think it was like $8. I think the raffle ticket was, it might have been $10. So she gives us like all ones, $10 in all ones. And so we you know, of course we're kids, and we're like, you know, this sucks. We kind of knew it wasn't as lucrative as we thought it was when we heard the deal, but we figured we'd give it a shot. So anyway, so we take the $10 back to the place, and we're like, cool, at least we'll get $2, right? So we can go buy some more gas. And the guy's like, oh no, you don't get paid until you make so many deliveries, or something like until 4 o'clock or something like that. But the deal was we didn't get paid then and there. So he says, so we said, well, was there anything else we can do? Well, you can make phone calls to sell these raffle tickets. And we're kind of looking at each other like, we ain't making phone calls. So he says, all right, here's your next address. So we took the address, we get in the car, we start driving, look at the map, and it just kind of at an instant, we looked at each other and we're like, I'm done. Are you done? He's like, yeah, I'm done. So we didn't even go back to the place for our $2. we just, I think we went to the beach or something that day. We're like, the heck with that. So that was our encounter with a bogus shyster scam, get-rich-quick scheme job. Just thought it was kind of funny. I was thinking about it on the way to work one day. The things that me and my friends and I did to try to make a buck, much less a quick buck, you know. So if you have any stories or any funny situations where you had a bogus job or a terrible job, leave it in the comments below or make a video. Alright, and I'll show you the end product when I get it put back together. Oh, you know what it looks like, but whatever. Talk to you later. Bye. Not too shabby.